your seat in the well. Are we missing any? Here's Jasmine. Will all council members have a seat in the well? Hey, because I got so many presentations, I'm going straight to presentations. We about ready in 1 second. All right, let's get started. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin,
Here.
Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensik, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting under section 605.04 of the codified ordinances. No person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Hudson, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. What we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit out of order today, and the reason why is because we have several presentations, and I want to make sure that these presentations are handled abruptly. I'm going to ask first and foremost if Councilman Mike Polensik can join me to the right so that we can acknowledge the USS Cleveland. And I believe that they were summoned to a meeting, but we're going to give them a proclamation anyway. Councilman Mike Polensik.
Would the crew and members of the USS Cleveland come forward along with the USS Cleveland Foundation.
Come on and fill in around us, fill in around
Come on,
us,
come on.
all around the platform. And then whoever is going to speak on behalf of the crew is be right here next to Councilman Pelosi.
I want to thank the council president and the council for permitting this to take place today. You know, anytime you can get a dedication of a U.S. military ship, U.S. naval ship, in the city of Cleveland, it's unbelievable. None of us had ever seen this before. Say that again. So to celebrate our 250th anniversary as a nation, the USS Cleveland Foundation worked with the U.S. Navy to bring in the ship, which is now docked on the lakefront. And on behalf of all of our colleagues and the people of the city of Cleveland, it's my pleasure to introduce Machinist Mate Chief Segwood Miller. Where is she? Where is she? Did she come up? Ray, come on up, right over here, come on. Don't hide. Okay. And so I'm going to read a portion and then give the final portion to the council president. But, you know, I toured the ship today, and I would urge you all who haven't had the opportunity to go down there and go through this magnificent ship. And when you see all of the sailors that are there from different walks of life, from different parts of the country, different races, different religions and nationalities, only reinforces that the United States Navy truly represents not only the best of our nation, but only is reflective of our country as well. So whereas the members of Cleveland City Council are proud and pleased to recognize the historic commissioning of the USS Cleveland to be held on Saturday, May 16th in the city of Cleveland, marking a moment of profound civic pride as this great vessel begins its service, bearing the name of our beloved city. And whereas, come on, that's right. And whereas this occasion simplifies not only the introduction of new Freedom Class Littoral Combat Ship into the United States Navy, but also the continuation of a powerful legacy as the USS Cleveland becomes the fourth naval vessel to carry the name of Cleveland, honoring the generations of service, sacrifice, and strength. And by the way, a lot of those bells from the original ship are in the rotunda of City Hall. And let me continue here. And whereas christened on April 15, 2023 by the ship's sponsor, Mrs. Robin Modley, the USS Cleveland entered the water and promise and purpose and the following in acceptance by the United States Navy in 2025, now stands ready to embark on its official commissioning as a vital mission that lie ahead. And, Mr. President, I'm going to let you continue here.
Thank you. And it goes on to say, whereas the USS Cleveland will be manned by a dedicated crew of approximately 90 sailors and officers, each entrusted with upholding the highest traditions of naval service while carrying forward the distinguished legacy of its predecessors, the USS Cleveland. Cleveland City Council hereby honors and celebrates the commissioning of the USS Cleveland LCS-31, recognizing its significance to our city, our nation, and all who serve, and pledges continued support to the sailors and families connected to this ship. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them another round of applause.
And I also want to recognize Mr. Tim Daly from the USS Cleveland Foundation and his wife, Mary Louise Jessic, who works for City Council as well, who have been heavily engaged in this process. It is our pleasure to present this to you and the crew of the USS Cleveland. God bless you.
Outstanding.
You want to say something? Come on.
Well, thank you, all of you, for inviting us here. We are very proud to carry the namesake of Cleveland, and we hope to actually make you proud of the members, all of us who actually serve and carry the namesake of Cleveland. So thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'm going to bring him up right here from the floor, but could Councilman Conwell join us up front? He has a presentation, Councilman Kevin Conwell. Could his guests?
Is UCI here also? Is Joe Fazio, is he here? I don't see him here, Mr. President. I'll take the other one with him. So, assalamu alaikum, alhamdulillah. This resolution, Doctor, would you like to open it up and say some things? You got words to say, you push it. All right, sisters.
So first of all, let me just say how grateful we are. You are giving us a resolution honoring the work that we do, and the we is Tea Time for Peace. It is an organization that for 10 years has been building conversations with the Muslim community so that we can get to know our Muslim neighbor, to cut through the toxic messages we have all received about Islam and what it means to be Muslim, right? And these conversations are powerful. I want to just say that I think we are grounded in the idea that the only reason we're really here is to love each other and build community. So we are deeply honored to be receiving this today, are in deep gratitude, and we want to invite you, City Council and the administration, to come to a mini Tea Time for Peace, which will be next Monday, 5:30 to 6:45, across the hall in the Cotton Room. And we would just be thrilled to engage with you with the work we do. And I would also like Sister Humaira Khan, who co-facilitates this work with me, and the rest of the steering committee, Nahida Farunia, Nadira Rashid, Tony White, and Sister Nafisa Abdul Rahim. And there's more of us, but thank you so much. We are so honored.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you all once again for inviting us and giving us this honor. We have been working hard. It's been 10 years, and we have held about 50 events at places of worship and churches, mosques, at one of the synagogue, and at places of education at Case Western, Laurel School, and a few other universities, Baldwin Wallace. And we hope to continue the work, and we hope that we are passing out, I think, trifolds, which tells you a little bit about what we do. If you would like to have one of those events at your places of worship, or any group which you would like to, we would love to come out and help facilitate that. And we just believe that this is part of taking small steps to build the beloved community where we can all, and I see what you have written up here, everybody, no matter what your background is, your national origin, what faith you practice, we are all one, and we all need to live together to make our country prosper. So, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
We write laws for people to live, work, and travel to the city of Cleveland. You want to come on up, Shaw? You were saying you want to come up and everything is good. And so we thank you. We thank you for coming out here and inviting us. So we have a date that I passed out to everyone. It says, save the date. Just for you, Cleveland City Council. Get to know your Muslim neighbors. constituents and are gathering across faiths and bound by love and humanity. When? On May 18th, 2026, from 5:30 to 6:45 p.m. That's next Monday. So come to the Mercedes Cardinal Room. We will have refreshments. They'll sit down and talk with you. And what they want to do, really, is build relationships with each and every one of us. And I'll be there. I'll be there. On behalf of the 374,000 residents in the city of Cleveland, Cleveland City Council, by council members Bishop, Davis, Gray, Griffin, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensik, Santana, Shaw, Slife, and Starr, where the members of Cleveland City Council take great pride and pleasure in recognizing the Tea Time for Peace, an inspiring interfaith and community dialogue initiative dedicated to building understanding, compassion, and unity among neighbors of all faiths and backgrounds. Tea Time for Peace is an initiative of the Muslim Associated of Cleveland East, has become a powerful, powerful force for unity and a beacon for hope, humanity throughout northeastern Ohio, creating welcome spaces where conversations replace assumptions and friendships from all over the world. It overcomes fear, whereas through heartfelt gatherings centered around tea, fellowship, and honest dialogue, Tea Time for Peace has visited churches, schools, like you were saying, community organizations across the region, strengthening relationships between Muslims and non-Muslims communities, reminding us of all that understanding begins with listening. So on behalf of us, we thank you for coming. And did you have anything to say, sister?
No, I don't, but thank you.
Here's the mic. Just say thank you.
I just want to say thank you so much. I know many of you, and I love Cleveland. I grew up, and when it was the time, was the best school district in the world, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I said the education I received, I could go from the projects to the White House.
Let me say this. This sister is not playing doctor, and she was CMSD student, and now she's a doctor, and she's working in the community, and I love that a great deal. So we'll take pictures. And Joe Jones said he loved this. These two brothers, Councilman Shaw as well as Councilmember Joe Jones, request to come up and stand. You know what? You have an envelope as well.
All right, I'm gonna invite up the commander or Chief Tom Wetzel and his team from UCI, if they could come join us up front.
You know, the chief brought community policing. He's one of the greatest community policing individuals in the city of Cleveland. And UCI, this guy who we're going to honor today, was just honored this morning by the Adams Board for helping and giving out and helping people with disabilities and the mentally community, mental health community. And I'm very, very proud of you, very proud of you. Thank you. Before we read this off,
Wasn't prepared to speak, but thank you. For those that know Joe Fazio, he has a heart as big as our footprint in UCI. He cares deeply about those that are in mental health crises, and on an occasion that we're honoring tonight in January, he actually was able to talk someone off that wanted to jump off an 8th story of a garage. And not only once, but actually the next day wanted to do it at the same time. So he did a fantastic job, but it's where his heart is all the time. He's just always looking out for those that are in need. Our department takes that extremely serious. Those that are suffering mental health crises is so important to us. We're not interested in arresting. We're interested in trying to find them some help. And Joe's all about that. So this is beautiful that you're doing this for us tonight. We're really proud of him, and this is just special for our department to have something like this. So.
CP, Council President.
We're all proud of Mr. Fazio. They do great work on a day-to-day basis. On behalf of council, we're all so proud of you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman of the Safety Committee, would you like to say anything? Well, can we move forward? Whereas the members of Cleveland City Council are sincerely proud of you, Fazio, and pleased to acknowledge and celebrate Patrol Officer Joe Fazio, badge number 44, for demonstrating exceptional courage, professionalism, and composure in responding to a high volatile, life-threatening situation involving a suicidal individual on the 8th floor of the Veterans Administration Employee Garage on January the 16th, 2026. Officer Fazio, you was the first to make the contact with the individual who repeatedly approached the edge and gestured to attempt to jump. Through swift thinking, calm demeanor, and skilled communication, you, Officer Fazio, effectively de-escalated the situation. So on behalf of Cleveland City Council and the 374,000 residents in this city of Cleveland, we thank you very, very much, and God bless. Fazio.
I just want to say thank you to Councilman Conwell and the rest of the crew here. We were really looking forward to Council President Griffin and Mr. Polensik about trying to get help to the community and make sure that officers are getting trained well and able to handle these type of crises appropriately. So I want to thank you for their support, and also Chief Wetzel for all he's done for our department, along with Captain Smith and Lieutenant Steve Brady and UCI President Kate Borders. Thank you.
Just one last group I want to make sure we bring up. Crystal Allen and Donna Butler, if we could bring up both of them from the Pan-Hellenic Council. We have more than 100 or more people representing the Divine Nine organizations from across the city of Cleveland. And I want to give Ms. Allen an opportunity to say hello and what the Pan-Hellenic Council does. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal Allen. I am the president of the National Pan-Hellenic Council of Greater Cleveland, also a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. What the NPHC is are affectionately known as the Divine Nine, or we are the 9 historically black, thank you, historically black fraternities and sororities. Here in the Greater Cleveland community, we are 14 strong, soon to be 15 strong chapters serving the Greater Cleveland community with community service, social action, voting engagement. We are there to be the voice of our community and help them as well. And then with me, I have Donna Butler. She serves as our parliamentarian on our board. And as our president said, we were here today to celebrate what was the 96th Founders Day of the National Panhellenic Council Incorporated.
All right, let's give them a round of applause. They do great work throughout the city. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, sister. Thank you. All right, we're going to move back to public comment. And I want to make sure I remind everyone to please follow your time. 3 minutes is what you have. The first person that we have on the agenda is Brenda Bickerstaff from Ward 9 to talk about levels of oversight, Part 2 in Cleveland concerning the Cleveland Police Department. Safety versus reform should not be against one another, not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
They need to raise the mic up. Do it need to be? I don't know how to do it. No, I don't. I sure do. I know this consent decree, don't I? And I know police reform. But anyway, as you all know, the judge denied the motion and the consent decree is staying. So Mayor Bibb, I want to shout out to you. You talk about too many levels of oversight. It's branches of oversight. You have Office of Professional Standards, which I indicated before. They do the investigations. They go out, they talk to people, they get information, they get the paperwork, then they make a decision, they talk to the person who made the complaint. Then it goes to the Cleveland Police Review Board. That's the other level. The Cleveland Police Review Board, they look at the information of the investigation, they look to see if the officer has made any type of violations. Then it goes to the chief, then it goes to the safety director. The Cleveland Police Commission is the final authority. The Cleveland Police Commission makes a determination. If they get 10 days, they get 10 days. If not, they can get terminated. Each branch does something different. Now, Mayor Bibb, I'm going to go there. For you to be disappointed that the consent decree is still here, I'm shocked. I am so glad that Judge Oliver went back in the day. He went back when my brother got killed by the police, when I told you guys several times before, the police department knew that they were supposed to make these changes. 13 years ago, before they came back in 14, he talked about that in his 71-page opinion. Mayor Bibb, I'm upset with you, but I'm willing to give you a chance. You a black man. You are a black man. You should be the first one to say that you know that there's reform that's needed in this city. Now, I just talked to Polensky. Now, let's go back to the consent decree. Now, from my understanding, it's the problem with the administration and the white shirts. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a public record request to you, Mr. Griffin, and I want you to identify every single name of the officer that's in a white shirt. Because I want to find out why they cannot follow the judge's order. Harsh, what's the problem? Why can't they do their job? Why can't they do what the court is ordering them to do? Now, if a judge told me something, a federal judge, Mr. Griffin, you know I would have to abide by it or I would be in jail. So let's get this together. He denied it. We may not like it, and I get it that you don't. So let's get it together with these white shirts and these people in the administration and find out to see what is the problem that they cannot do what they've been ordered to do when they knew this. Casey, when my brother got killed by the police, and I've said this over and over and over again. And remember, Mayor Bibb, it's not a lot of levels of oversight. We got the right amount.
Thank you. Next, we have Merle Johnson. Merle Johnson is from Beechwood. She's here to talk about fair school funding. She's not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Ms. Merle Johnson, you have the floor.
Thank you. I recently heard someone say that if Cleveland had an elected school board instead of an appointed one, they wouldn't be having all these money problems. The people sitting in the school board seats, whether appointed or elected, do not control how much money school districts receive. So we need to know who's to blame. If you want to change what's happening, You've got to change the Columbus decision makers, the governor and legislators. You will have that opportunity on November 3rd. Republican legislators made a decision to send $1.2 billion to private schools, which drains public school districts of much-needed funds. School districts have to work with what's left, which leads to teacher and para layoffs. And those private schools are taking students from public schools, which makes it necessary to close schools due to the lack of students. It's all a plan to dismantle public education. So when school districts are not funded properly, that forces districts to put levies on the ballot, which raises property taxes and distresses community members. 66 levies were on the May 5th ballot, only 24 passed. And then, the more despair in a community, the less the people vote, which allows the Republican legislators who don't care about public education or our students to remain in office so they can continue doing harm to communities all over Ohio. So here's a mini history lesson. In 1991, the state of Ohio was sued by a group of school districts called the Coalition for Equity and Adequacy for School Funding because of the deplorable conditions of public schools. In response to a number of appeals, the Ohio Supreme Court ruled 4 times that the way Ohio funds its schools is unconstitutional due to an over-reliance on property taxes. They didn't say to get rid of property taxes. They said to find a more equitable way to fund our public schools. Now, those of you who have this paper, I passed out, look at the side that says bipartisan promise broken. In 2021, the Fair School Funding Plan, developed by Republicans and Democrats, which finally responded directly to the Ohio Supreme Court's rulings, passed. The legislators promised to phase in funding in 3 two-year budget cycles. The legislature abandoned the 3rd phase-in. Please turn your paper over. That $2.86 billion is the amount of money that was shortchanged from Ohio students in 26-27. That's the reason there's a huge money problem now. The other reason is huge tax cuts for rich people, but that's a story for another day. So when you vote on November 3rd, remember, the governor approves the state budget. There are 2 candidates running for governor. One supports public education, the other one does not. Please do your research and then vote wisely and save our public schools that are attended by 90% of Ohio's children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have James Singleton from Ward 9. He's talking about getting help with our programs that help youth. He's with our city church, and he's not representing, or he's not being paid by anyone.
How y'all doing in here? Good, I guess. Oh, okay. Listen, I don't have anything but love in my heart. A little disappointed, but more love than anything. I graduated high school without being able to read, educational diploma. I learned how to read in prison. I went to prison because I lived in a drug-infested neighborhood, and my role models was drug dealers and gangsters. Didn't ask for that environment, didn't ask to go to school and be there and attend there and not get the education that I need. I showed up, lived in the projects, and did what I knew how to do based off of what was in my environment. However, by going to prison was the best thing that happened to me because it allowed me to meet God and Him to begin to tell me about myself. So once I learned how to read, I decided that I wanted to do something special with my life. I wanted to mean something. I didn't want just to live. I wanted to put an imprint in this world. So what I did is I looked at my community and said that I need to make a difference. So for 9 years, I've been in the community, spending my own money, bringing kids in, teaching them how to do electrical, plumbing, drywall, framing. I wound up getting the whole block. Wound up getting the whole block, struggling to take care of it, and not pointing no fingers at nobody because I know we all got responsibility. And I can appreciate all of y'all. I think y'all are amazing people. And I know by being a pastor, the people that you help be the people that hurt you. I understand that as well, too. So the only thing I'm coming here is to ask for help with our community, right? Y'all need me in the community to make a difference. 40% of our youth are incarcerated. They playing sports that's not preparing them, probably 2 out of 2 million wind up going to the NFL, something like that, right? So we creating programs with our city church that actually works in the community, not just for youth, but for any grown adults for absolutely free. Last year, we figured out how to feed them, how to get transportation for them. If they needed shoes, we got them shoes. We went to give some shoes to one of the elementary schools. And we're just doing stuff that need to be done inside of the community. We're not complaining. We're not pointing fingers. We're not upset. We're not angry, because that's not a solution. A solution is to identify a problem and come together as a community and work it out together. And it has no color on there. It's no white or black issue. It's a people issue. And my heart is with people to be able to make a difference. So for 9 years, I was able to call Conwell. If I need him, that's my guy. I don't have no bad things to say about you. You defend my name every time somebody says something about me. Richard Starr, my guy in here, Jock, Angela, I appreciate everything they did for me, right? But we need to do more. We need to do better. There's no pointing no fingers. How can we make a difference without pointing fingers and out yelling and out hurting people? Thank you all for the time.
Thank you. Next, we have Daryl Houston. Daryl Houston is from Bedford Heights. Daryl's here to talk about city issues. He's not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
Everybody quite surprised today. I come to give a little flowers today. I'm in a good mood today. First of all, I want to thank the Public Work Director for addressing the issue that I had in front of my business. I was down here last Wednesday, and the gentleman, I saw him and showed him the video at my business, and before I could get back up there, it was taken care of. So I want to shout out to that gentleman for doing his job. I appreciate that as a taxpayer. But I really want to dive into is this here. We lost that 3.3 million in lead, correct? Now we're about to lose 11.1 million in lead by May the 29th, right? And I'm almost in tears when I say this because my granddaughter was born without lead, okay? And when I look at my granddaughter, she's 18 now. I've been home 18 years. And I have to realize that she will not be able to enjoy her full potential of life because she's infected with lead, okay? It was a great thing that Rebecca Mara did. I knew that she would come and swing that bat in the direction that it needed to be swung in. And that was a correct bat, okay? I'm gonna ask at least 9 of my members down here. I've been watching you guys. I haven't pulled public records on none of you guys because for one reason and one reason only. I've watched each and every last one of you try to do your jobs, and I appreciate that. And to the new members, I know that they're here to do their jobs. So what I'm asking today is that where's the unity at? Where's the compassion at? Because we just had a young lady over on 142nd and Kinsman sit in an abandoned building for 7 years, okay? We just had another young lady lose her life on 116th. We just had a 16-year-old get shot, okay? I've been mentoring that gentleman that just spoke. I've been mentoring him. There's another gentleman that's finna come speak. These guys have great, real programs, and they're willing to give their skills back to this community for free. But what we wanna know is who is really invested in this community and these juveniles right now. Because I can take guys right now to the detention home. I can take guys right to Indian River right now, where we've been having problems at. I've been trying to do this for 18 straight years. And every time I get depressed when I come down here because it's like I'm talking to people that don't seem to care about other human beings' lives. And that's not fair to us. That's not fair to not one human being living right now. God woke us up to be great every day that we get a chance to walk this earth. And I'm not understanding why we don't put our minds together and solve real problems. I told you guys I had a real solution for the dirt bikes. If you give the funding for the lead, I can get them young men to go to work. It's not that hard. Right now we're losing the YMCA. No one's talking about all of these things that our children don't have that we had when we were kids, okay? And we are all adults. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you. Next we have Dale Snyder Jr. Dale Snyder Jr. is from Shaker Heights. He's here to talk about the community engage process. He's with Road Gold Inc., and he is not being paid by anyone. Mr. Snyder, you have the floor.
How y'all doing, council body? Can y'all hear me well? Council body, council president, to the mayor, and all the staff in here. I got my mother with me and a couple people just in case y'all want to jump on me. So y'all can wave y'all hand. Hey, listen, first of all, I want to commend the one brother that came up. That brother, I just met him with Mr. Houston a few days ago. Brother, I believe in your program. We're going to stay connected. And we're also going to connect with other NPOs, nonprofit organizations that work into the community, that work in the community. When I think about the community, I think about a multifaceted Rubik's that takes a lot of twisting and turning to match up. And by logic, that may be infinite twisting and turning, but if you got a heart, it'll give you the engine to keep twisting and turning. I think we all want to match up with the same goal in mind, the same agenda in mind, the community. What is the community? The community is not the brand of the Browns. It's not the lakefront ideal. Those are great. Those are assets. But the community is you and I. The community is that cross guard that never gets a pat on the back, but the ushers are youth across the street. The community is the crackhead. The community is young single mothers, single fathers. The community is the youth on a dirt bike. The community is the judges, the councilman. The community is the mayor, the council president, and also the police. Yes, I'm in support of the consent decree. I'm for the charter. I'm for the charter. I am. Not because I wanted to slant against anybody personally. That's small-minded thinking. Because there are systemic wrongness within our policing that has to be addressed. And I don't have to say this. We all know as people of color and non-color that is slanted against a demographic that look like me, maybe a little darker. Watch your mouth, my mama right there. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers as well. So I got 45 seconds. I want to say this RGI Roll Gold Inc. has already started and is in process. Our first class is here right now. Excuse my language right now. But I want Angela to stand up. I want Ms. Nene to stand up. I want Bobby to stand up. I want Jazz to stand up. They have went through the course. They have now just received their Class B CDL permit, and it's going on to Part 2. This is out of pocket. Now, I haven't spoke in a while, but I want to say this, stay standing. In this crowd right there, one is a sheriff for over 20 years. One is a returning citizen with a nursing degree over 20 years. One is a single mother with a bachelor's and a master's. One works for our college right now. You can pick out who is who. I bet you'll be wrong.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Reverend Pinckney. Her word is confidential, and what Reverend Pinckney would like to talk about is voting and involuntary commitment, and she is representing Pamela 2028 and not being paid by anyone. Reverend Pinckney, you have the floor.
I greet you in the name of Jesus Christ, the author and finisher of our faith. And before I proceed with my comments, I would like to emphasize that we've taken prayer out of the process, but still have pledges, and I do not make pledges to inanimate objects. I keep promises to people. I want to thank the council for your support during the transition of my mother, Dr. Betty K. Butts Pinckney, attorney at law, who ran the congressional office for the 11th District of Ohio, and thank you for your condolences. I'm a presidential candidate for the United States of America for 2028, and I am the founder, and I have put in place a victim of crime, victim violence fund, because there's no funding for victims of violence to receive attorneys or other resources. The involuntary commitment and public safety committee meeting and the committee that takes place in multiple states in the United States is a concern for me, because I wonder how many multiracial, Black, brown, and indigenous people are involuntarily committed through the racism in this country. I wonder how many people are involuntarily committed because racist white America sees us and fears us and wants to make themselves safe from us through the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which started the process of the pro-slavery amendment here in Ohio through Thomas Corwin, who was a federal representative, a federal senator, the governor for the state of Ohio, and also the secretary of the Treasury for the state of Ohio. I wonder how many people that look like me, how many people that are black, brown, multiracial, and indigenous are deemed to be mentally ill and are involuntarily committed because racist white America fears us. There's no need to fear us. Everyone has blood that runs warm in our bodies. Everybody has blood that when it hits the air, it's going to be red. Everyone has the need for food, shelter, and clothing. I ask this legislation, I not just ask, I demand that this legislation go and pull the records, pull the statistics for the black, brown, multiracial, and indigenous people who are currently and who have been involuntarily committed to protect the community from racist white America. This is not a request, this is a requirement. See, it's time for peace, and it's time that women no longer are deemed as property of our government.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Matthew Stronzinski. He's from Ward 2 to talk about communications with the city. He is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone.
Thank you, and I will repeat it over and over. It's an honor. I'm sorry. I apologize. I only have a minute. Excuse me. I only have a minute left, but that's fine. It is a great honor to speak here. And I love coming here and having people listen to me from my heart. I'm so sorry. I am unable to speak, but I just want to say, and I'm going to say, and I love this city, okay? I really love this city. And that's not the only reason why it touches me in my heart, okay? It's not just the city. There's a lot. I've been coming here since I was 8 years old. A lot has happened. And I will speak a lot more, and I will not stop speaking. And I want to thank you for your patience at this time right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kratina Hill. Kratina Hill is from Ward 11 to talk about Tiny Heroes Academy. She's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Kratina Hill. Is Kratina Hill here? Cortina Hill going once. Cortina Hill going twice. Cortina Hill is not here. We'll move on to Fauzi Badur. Fauzi Badur is from Ward 11. He's here to talk about the hyperscale data center. He is not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
Good evening, Council, Council President, Mayor Bibb, staff, people, good evening. I'm here in support of Ordinance 55626 that was introduced to this council by Councilman Charles Slive. Council, in June 2025, Ohio lawmakers voted in big majority not to give hyperscale data center any tax break. The governor, a month later in July of 2025, vetoed them, as he did more than 200 times in his last 3 years as governor. I mentioned that to show you how much he respects his lawmakers. When he was asked one day after Councilman Slife did his speech here, he was asked by Channel 5 what he thought about his speech. He says this matter should be considered, taken wherever by the state lawmakers. He said that because he could veto his lawmakers, but he could not veto you. He could not veto the big numbers of cities, council across the state that already place moratorium on data center. Some of them for 1 year, some of them for 2 years. The last one is Twinsburg, 5 days ago. Council, the thing is, we don't know for fact what those data centers represent. I know one thing. Thank you. I know one thing. What's his name? The Twitter guy, what's his name, whatever. He bought like 200 acres of land in Arkansas. He's building a plant that can supply electricity to 350,000 people in an area that only inhabited by 5,000. And that I picked up from a senator, US Senator from Missouri, was asking Robert Kennedy, the health secretary, about that. So he's gonna build his robot there. Mark Zuckerberg.
Time.
Up fast.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Terry Wong. Terry Wong is from Ward 8, and she wants to talk about how Cleveland leaders are failing Cleveland residents. She's not representing one, not being paid by anyone.
Surveillance and pornography. Yes, you heard me correctly. Surveillance and pornography. These increasingly appear to be what our elected leaders have chosen to build the future of Cleveland's economy, no matter the cost to working people, our neighborhoods, or even Lake Erie. Last week, the Carlyle Group, a $500 billion private equity firm with deep ties and contracts from the defense and war industries, applied to build a 150 megawatt hyperscale data center in Slavic Village, a neighborhood where nearly 45% of residents live in poverty and the median household income is just $26,000. Tech experts have admitted that surveillance and pornography are among the few consistently profitable sectors driving demand for this infrastructure. And at the same time, City Hall is facilitating billion-dollar surveillance and ecological damage through data centers, it denies a basic human need, food access, in another community, Asiatown. City Hall and the NRP Group are building 120 apartment units on Payne Avenue while actively blocking a full-service grocery store and ignoring the opposition of thousands of residents. For nearly a decade, Dave's owners rejected food business offers. Then, with the help of Midtown CDC and Stephanie House Jones, they locked that site into an unlawful covenant banning all food-based businesses in perpetuity unless Dave's itself goes under. That sounds like an antitrust violation. The city worked with local millionaires made wealthy by the community to deny a public good like a grocery store. Then they turned around and applied for $42 million in public funding to build apartments that the community does not want. And it gets worse. Recently, the developer NRP announced they would install license plate readers at the new development, flock cameras in an immigrant neighborhood to make it easier for ICE to follow immigrants, all facilitated by our city government who claims to be fighting racism and fascism. At the root of this exploitation is the deceptively named form-based code, which will be expanded to St. Clair Superior and then the rest of the city this year. City Hall plans to rewrite, without public scrutiny, without transparency, 212 pages of law so the city can rezone lots and sell them to the highest bidder. I'm sure many will be data centers and apartment buildings with flock cameras. So here's my demand, not a request, a demand. Stop both projects and add a public hearing with unlimited public comment for the form-based code. And if you won't, then I personally will recall you. Every single member who votes yes on any of these projects or the existing form-based code. Clevelanders are at the brink, in case you haven't noticed, and I will not let you push us over anymore. Thank you.
That ends public comment. Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File number 627, 2026, oath of office for Elizabeth Crow, Chief Innovation and Technology Officer. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 628, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4116 Lorraine Avenue, Ward 7. File number 629, 2026, regarding a new license application at 13024 Buckeye Road, Ward 3.
Thank you. Are there any condolence resolutions?
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Casey for Mary Louise Devering, by Councilmember Polensek for Freddie Ann Bender, by Councilmember Griffin for Dr. Betty K. Pinkney, by Councilmember Griffin for Jerome W. Haley, by Councilmembers Bishop and Conwell for Nicholas Quarterman, by Councilmember Bishop for Alita Yvette Seals, by Councilmember Hudson for Lenny Stover, by Councilmember Griffin for Mother Bertha Blackman, by Councilmember Jones for Lola Mae Webb, by Councilmember Davis for Gerald Howard Domsick.
Thank you. Are there any other condolence resolutions? Councilwoman House Jones.
Yes, please hold out a number for Lamont Fields, please.
So noted.
Do we have any other condolences? Councilman Richard Starr.
Please hold out a number for Jabril Adams and Raynard Wood.
So noted.
Are there any other condolence resolutions? Seeing no other condolence resolutions, will all council members rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Are there any congratulatory resolutions?
Resolutions of congratulations by Councilmember Griffin for Thomas A. Nagel, by Councilmember Conwell for Suzanne Van Leer, by Councilmember House Jones for Sailing Center Cleveland in the Metro Parks. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Slife for Father James Patrick O'Donnell on his 70th anniversary, by Councilmember Griffin for Division of Assessments and Public Licenses Employee Appreciation Week, by Councilmember Conwell for Officer Joe Fazio, by Councilmember Starr for Friendly Inn Community Impact Award Gala, by Councilmember Polensek for Mike Patrone, by Councilmember Polensek for John Rinaldi, by Councilmember Conwell for Tea Time for Peace.
Thank you. First reading, emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 584, 2026. By Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Innovation and Technology to employ one or more consultants, computer software developers or vendors, or one or more firms of consultants, computer software developers, or vendors necessary to implement various technology projects, services, and upgrades to existing systems under the 2026 ITS Capital Project Plan, other related professional services to implement the plan, and to enter into various contracts to implement the ordinance. Ordinance 585, 2026, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Health to enter into one or more contracts with Ohio Public Health Association to provide temporary staffing of registered environmental health specialists for the Division of Environment, Department of Public Health for a period up to 1 year with one option to renew for an additional period of 1 year, exercisable by the Director of Public Health. Ordinance 586, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to amend the title in sections 1, 2, and 3 of Ordinance 325, 2025, to supplement the ordinance by adding new section 1A relating to the Oracle Customer Care and Billing System. Ordinance 587, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to amend section 523.25 of the codified ordinances relating to interconnection service for distributed generation. Ordinance 588, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to amend section 523.26 of the codified ordinances relating to net metering service. Ordinance 589, 2026, by Council Members Slife and Griffin by departmental request, to amend section 3 of Ordinance 884, 2023, relating to professional consultants to provide on-call planning services. Ordinance 591, 2026, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, to amend section 551.01 through 08, 111, 191, 551.26.33, and .991 of the codified ordinances relating to waste collection and disposal citations. Ordinance 592, 2026, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Health for the Title X program, authorizing the Director to charge and accept fees, entering into one or more agreements to receive payments from Medicare, Medicaid, Medicaid HMOs, and third-party insurers, and authorizing contracts with various entities, requirement contracts, professional services, and advertising contracts necessary to implement the grant. Ordinance 593, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from Cuyahoga County for fiscal year 25 Urban Area Security Initiative Grant. Ordinance 594, 2026, by Council Members Starr, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, approving the addition to certain property located at 629 Euclid Avenue to Northeast Ohio Advanced Energy District, accepting the approving and a petition and plan from the property owner in the district proposing a special energy improvement project, declaring it necessary to conduct the special energy improvement project, providing for the assessment of the cost of such special improvement project, authorizing the Director of Development to enter into an energy project cooperative agreement and special assessment agreement to implement the project, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 596, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to exercise the first option to renew a contract with One Call Concepts Utility Locating Service regarding services for the various divisions of the Department of Public Utilities. Ordinance 598, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to exercise the second option to renew a contract with Kyndryl, Inc. to provide professional services for hosting and hosting support of the Oracle Customer Care and Billing System. Ordinance 597, 2026, by Council Members Slife and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew a contract to provide maintenance, commercial operation, and management services for parking facilities at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport and Burke Lakefront Airport. Ordinance 599, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with Hatch Company to provide laboratory equipment, supplies, and services for operation, calibration, preventive maintenance, appropriate repairs, and to certify accuracy of laboratory and inline process equipment used to test drinking water that's manufactured by the Hatch Company. Ordinance 600, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more contracts with ST Engineering Telematics Wireless Limited for the hosting and technical support required to manage the Bright City lighting system, including cloud migration, remote control, and monitoring for the Division of Cleveland Public Power, Department of Public Utilities for a period of 3 years. Ordinance 601, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of constructing a new pump station and ground level tank at the Pleasant Valley Road Station and demolishing and removing the existing system and tank, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more public improvement contracts to construct the improvement, acquiring, accepting, and recording necessary rights of way, authorizing the Director to employ one or more professional consultants necessary for the improvement, and authorizing the Director of Public Utilities and/or the Director of Finance to apply for and accept one or more water supply revolving loan account loans, grants, and other funding. Ordinance 602, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of inspecting, repairing, renewing, and/or replacing transmission water mains, valves, and appurtenances, and making corrosion control inspections and improvements as part of the transmission water main renewal and corrosion prevention and control program from 2027 through 2031, authorizing one or more professional consultants for the improvements and to apply for and accept additional funding. Ordinance 603, 2026, by Council Member Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Human Resources to employ one or more consultants or firms of consultants to provide professional services necessary to analyze health care providers, benefits, and claims, and to evaluate proposals received for benefit management services for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Human Resources. Ordinance 604, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to employ one or more professional consultants to implement various citywide employee safety programs and other related services, and to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts needed in connection with the programs for the various divisions of city government for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 605, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request to repeal all sections in Chapter 604 of the codified ordinances relating to dogs that pose a threat to public safety and enact new sections 604.01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, and 99 relating to nuisance, dangerous, and vicious dogs. Ordinance 606, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts to provide building construction materials, equipment, supplies, and services, including labor, for the various divisions of city government for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 607, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts for the purchase of industrial paper products, cleaning and janitorial maintenance equipment, materials, supplies, and moving services for the various divisions of city government for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 608, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Finance to enter into one or more written standard purchase contracts and requirements contracts for the necessary items of unarmed uniformed security guard services and the necessary items of materials, equipment, supplies, and services needed for citywide electronic protection, shredding, and document destruction, including installation, training, labor, and materials, if necessary, for the various divisions of city government for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 609, 2026, by Council Members Santana and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of City Planning to exercise a second option to renew a contract with Santec Consulting Services to provide professional services for on-call planning services. Ordinance 612, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with ST Engineering Telematics Wireless Limited for proprietary adaptive control photo cells needed for LED streetlights and security lighting fixtures for the Division of Cleveland Public Power, Department of Utilities, for a term of 2 years. Ordinance 613, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services for fiscal year 26 Violent Crime Reduction Grant Program. Ordinance 614, 2026, by Council Members Bishop, Starr, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into one or more contracts with Case Western Reserve University to provide a summer youth sports, nutrition, health, and life skills development program for 2026 under National Youth Sports Program supported by Case Western Reserve University. Ordinance 615, 2026, by Council Members Starr, House Jones, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, establishing the East Side TIF District, declaring improvements to certain parcels of real property within that district to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation pursuant to Ordinance 5709.40, describing the public infrastructure improvements to be made to directly benefit the district, requiring the owners of the improvements on such parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, providing for the distribution of those service payments to Cleveland Municipal School District and to one or more funds established by the city to hold those service payments, determining the satisfaction provision has been made for the public improvement needs of the district and specifying other public improvements that are in support of urban redevelopment within the city. Ordinance 617, 2026, by council members Bishop, Starr, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into agreement with Neighborhood Leadership Institute to implement educational, recreation, and cultural programs in various school buildings and other facilities during evening hours, provide leadership training, and supervise the summer tennis program. Ordinance 618, 2026, by council members Bishop, Starr, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into a contract with Northeast Ohio Muni Football League, aka Cleveland Municipal Football Association, to conduct a citywide youth football program. Ordinance 620, 2026, by council members Harsh, Santana, Casey, Slife, and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of constructing solar power generation facilities, authorizing the directors of finance, public utilities, and/or port control as appropriate to enter into one or more contracts for the making of the improvement, authorizing other contracts for the purchase of items or other services not covered under a public improvement, and to accept gifts, grants, and other funding for the improvement. Ordinance 621, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to enact new sections 523.252 of the codified ordinances relating to the interconnection into the division of Cleveland Public Power's electric system by qualifying facilities, eligible large commercial customers, and eligible large industrial customers, and authorizing related agreements. Ordinance 622, 2026, by council members House Jones, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, to authorize the Director of Building and Housing to waive construction permitting fees for new one-family to three-family residential construction in the newly defined Eastside TIF District, and to authorize a 50% reduction of construction permitting fees for larger new multifamily or mixed-use residential construction in the same designated area. Ordinance 623, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Innovation and Technology to cause payment to Digital C for 2025 new household internet subscriptions and new digital adoption services. Ordinance 624, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to employ one or more professional consultants to assist in the management of Program Year 5 of the city's project of replacing various lead and galvanized service lines, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts and/or standard contracts of copper service lines, copper connections, and related appurtenances, including but not limited to materials, labor, installation, if necessary, for the division of water, and authorizing the Director of Public Utilities and/or Director of Finance to apply for and accept one or more water supply revolving loan account loans, grants, and other funding. Ordinance 625, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of labor and materials needed to repair, maintain, or replace water mains, fire hydrants, service connections, valves, and appurtenances, including tree lawn restoration and other repairs for the division of water, one or more requirement contracts for the labor and materials needed for pavement restoration, including installation for the divisions of water, water pollution control, and Cleveland Public Power Department of Public Utilities for a period up to 2 years, and to apply for and accept any loans or grants from any public or private entity. Ordinance 630, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to repeal Ordinance 583, 2023, authorizing the Director of Finance to enter into a development agreement with Sci-Fi Networks or its designee, successor, or assignees to install, operate, and maintain a citywide fiber optic network system in the city's public right-of-way. Ordinance 651, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, an emergency ordinance to amend Section 181.102 of the codified ordinances relating to software-related purchases.
All right. First reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 578, 2026, by Councilmember Bishop, to amend Section 2 of Ordinance 411, 2026, relating to the agreement with New Point Community Development Corporation for the Senior Lawn Care Program. Ordinance 590, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 51 of Ordinance 194, 2021, relating to compensation for various classifications. Ordinance 595, 2026, by Councilmember Gray, authorizing the Director of Department of Parks and Recreation to purchase materials and equipment for the Cleveland Foundry Rowing Program, providing rowing and safety equipment and lessons for Cleveland youth at city neighborhood recreation and resource centers through the use of Ward 3 casino revenue funds.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Hudson, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Thank you. First reading ordinance referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 626, 2026, by Council Members House Jones and Santana by departmental request, changing the zoning districts of parcels of land south of St. Clair Avenue between East 55th Street and Ansel Road.
Thank you. First reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 579, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, withdrawing objection to the transfer of location of a D5 liquor permit at 1105 Carnegie Avenue and repealing Resolution 1314, 2025, objecting to said transfer. Resolution 580, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, objecting to a new D5A liquor permit at 24 Public Square. Resolution 581, 2026, by Councilmember Hudson, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit at 6909 Clark Avenue. Resolution 582, 2026, by Councilmember Slife, recognizing and declaring May 10th to the 16th, 2026, and annually as Food Allergy Awareness Week in the city of Cleveland. Resolution 583, 2026, by Councilmember Casey, objecting to a new C1 and C2 liquor permit at 4611 West 130th Street. Resolution 650, 2026, by Councilmember Conwell, withdrawing objection to the renewal of a C2 liquor permit at 1163 East 123rd Street and repealing Resolution 856, 2025, objecting to said renewal.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Hudson, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 804, 2025, by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more agreements with CHN Housing Partners to administer energy, water, and sewer conservation services to low-income homeowners for the divisions of water, water pollution control, Cleveland Public Power, Department of Public Utilities for a period of 2 years. Ordinance 354, 2026, as amended by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of the Mayor's Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity to enter into one or more contracts with After School All-Stars for the purpose of providing after-school youth enrichment activities under the city's out-of-school time program for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 400, 2026, by Council Members Starr and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of the Office of Sustainability to apply for and accept one or more grants from various public or private entities to establish and operate a climate resilience pilot program for a period up to 2 years. Ordinance 453, 2026, by Council Members Jones, Bishop, Casey, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to execute various deeds of easement granting to Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District certain easement rights at several city-owned properties located along Mill Creek Corridor through the Carouche Basin located in the cities of Cleveland and Warrensville Heights as part of their Mill Creek Restoration Project, and declaring the easement rights not needed for the city's public use. Ordinance 455, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a utilities repair agreement with the County of Cuyahoga to pay or reimburse directly related costs incurred by the county for the repair of storm and sanitary sewer lines on an as-needed basis for a period not to exceed 2 years, with one option to renew for an additional 1-year period, exercisable by the Director of Public Utilities. Ordinance 465, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 405.04 of the codified ordinances relating to storage fees at vehicle impound. Ordinance 467, 2026, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of various types of general maintenance, structural repair, and lubrication requirements of movable bridges, including materials, equipment, supplies, services, and labor if necessary, for the Division of Streets, Department of Public Works, for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Works. Ordinance 468, 2026, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of rock salt for the Division of Streets, Department of Public Works, for a period of 1 year. Ordinance 470, 2026, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts for the transfer and disposal of solid waste for the Division of Waste Collection and Disposal, Department of Public Works, for a term of 2 years with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Works. Ordinance 471, 2026, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of the transfer, disposal, and processing of recyclable materials for the Division of Waste Collection and Disposal, Department of Public Works, for a period of 2 years with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Works. Ordinance 517, 2026, by Councilmember House Jones, authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer neighborhood equity funds to Division of Recreation to support programs sponsored by the boards of certain neighborhood resource and recreation centers. Ordinance 519, 2026 as amended by Council Members Polensek, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request to amend sections 1 and 2 of Ordinance 1470, 2025 relating to the consent to the County of Cuyahoga for the resurfacing to the South Corporation line and allocation of county tax funds for the improvement and to cause payment to the county for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 521, 2026 as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to apply for and accept a grant from Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District for the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District Special Project.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Hudson, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 14 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 14 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 480, 2026 as amended by Council Members House Jones, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, approving the creation of the Superior Arts Improvement District as a special improvement district in the city, accepting petitions from owners of the property in the proposed district, approving a plan for public services, declaring that the creation of the district is necessary and the plan will be conducive to the public health, safety, peace, convenience, and welfare of the proposed district, providing for the assessment of the cost of such work upon benefited properties in the district, and declaring an emergency.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Hudson, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 14 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 14 yeas.
Thank you. Are there any introductions? Seeing no introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Seeing no announcements, we'll go to miscellaneous. Councilman Joe Jones, as well as Councilwoman Nikki Hudson, has asked for extra time. Councilman Jones, you have the floor.
President Griffin, members of council, Mayor Bibb, I rise today to briefly speak about an important economic development initiative currently taking place in Ward 1 and across the southeast side of the city of Cleveland. Over the last several months, my office have been working closely with community development corporations serving our neighborhoods, particularly the Harvard Community Service Center, New Point Development Corporation, along with their partners, stakeholders, around coordinated strategy focused on long-term investment, economic growth, and neighborhood revitalization. One of the major focuses of that work has been opportunity zones. As many of us know, opportunity zones have become one of the most important economic development tools utilized across the country over the past decade. They have helped attract private investment, support real estate development, encourage commercial corridor growth, and create long-term economic momentum in communities that were strategically positioned to participate. And when you look across Cleveland, it is clear that tools like these have played a role in helping support development and investment in several parts of our city. The data increasingly shows that structured economic tools and incentives are not optional in today's development environment. They are necessary. Communities that are able to leverage these tools are often communities that attract sustained investment, long-term development activity, and unfortunately, when the original Opportunity Zone maps were created several years ago, much of Ward 1 and the southeast side of the city was not included. And because of these destinations remain in place, for approximately 10 years, these decisions have tested and have lasting implications for economic development, real estate activity, and investment opportunities for an entire generation. That is why this current effort is so important. We've been calling this effort Put Us on the Map, because that is exactly what the moment represents for the southeast side of the city of Cleveland. A coordinated effort to ensure our neighborhoods are included in economic development, conversations, investment strategies, long-term planning that will help Cleveland over the next decade. The CDC's participating in putting us on the map effort recognizes that if we want different outcomes on the southeast side, then we have to make our communities, we have to make sure that our communities are positioned to participate in the same economic tools and strategies that have helped revitalize other areas of the city. I am proud that our CDCs and their partners are actively engaged in this process, working collaboratively with local leadership, engaging stakeholders in Columbus and Washington, D.C., and advocating to ensure the southeast side is a part of the conversation this time around. This is about positioning our neighborhoods to compete. This is about making sure that residents and communities of the southeast side have access to the same economic tools that have helped support growth in other areas throughout Cleveland. And I want to say publicly that I appreciate the administration's continued emphasis on economic development, investment throughout our city, including the southeast side of the city of Cleveland, promises made by our mayor. I believe this effort aligns with the broader vision of ensuring that all parts of Cleveland have the opportunity to participate in the city's future growth and prosperity. I look forward to continuing to work collaboratively with the Mayor Justin Bibb and his administration as we advocate for these requests to continue creating pathways for investments, housing, commercial development, small business growth, and long-term economic opportunities for the citizens of the Southeast Ward 1. I also want to personally thank Executive Director Elaine Goldstein, Executive Director Roshan Sample Barrett for their tireless work, leadership, and commitment to these initiatives, and to the residents they serve every single day. This and their willingness to think long-term, collaborate, and fight for these neighborhoods deserves recognition. At the end of the day, this effort is about making sure that the Southeast is not left behind in the next chapter of Cleveland's economic development story. Mayor, and to the citizens who are listening to this, put us on the map. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Next, we have Councilwoman Nikki Hudson.
Thank you, Council President. I planned on talking about one subject today, but I'm actually going to talk about two. First, I'd like to talk about the data center moratorium. News broke last week regarding the proposed new hyperscale data center on the Morabito site in Slavic Village. I'd like to commend my colleague, Councilman Slife, for his proposed one-year moratorium on new data centers in Cleveland, introduced 2 weeks ago tonight, which presumably also prompted the developers of this $1.6 billion facility to submit their building permits to try and beat out this legislation. To my colleagues, we can't let that happen. It's no secret that data centers such as this consume massive amounts of energy, with this one estimated to equal the electrical usage of 100,000 households. They also use tens, if not hundreds, of millions of gallons of water annually for cooling their equipment. A similar data center in Iowa has an annual water usage that is equivalent to the usage of over 4 million homes. On top of all that, they're a constant source of noise pollution. In return, data centers do not bring in high-paying tech jobs because once they're built, they operate more like infrastructure than traditional job-creating businesses. They require relatively few employees since facilities primarily house computers and servers. The jobs that data centers do create locally are typically lower wage, non-technical positions such as security, maintenance, and janitorial work that are often filled by contractors rather than full-time employees, meaning they lack union protections, benefits, and job security, and do not contribute to sustained economic growth or long-term career opportunities for local residents. Data centers, like the AI that's fueling them, are a new territory. We have so much to learn, but there's also a lot at stake, and it is our job as legislators to set guardrails around things like data centers to make sure that nothing gets built that will harm our residents now or in the future. Ordinance number 556/2026 will give us time to review the zoning code and correct it where necessary, as well as assess infrastructure demands so that Cleveland residents don't end up paying as much as $70 more a month on their electric bills because of a development like this. This is a massively important issue, and time is of the essence. The rapid expansion of AI data centers is already creating significant risks to local infrastructure, community resources, and long-term economic stability. If we don't get this right, we could very well be mortgaging our future and our children's future. Now is the time for us to come together on an issue that will affect all of us. It won't just affect the residents in Ward 3, where it's proposed to be built. A facility of this scale will have implications on the entire region. And right now, our laws aren't equipped to regulate it. I encourage my council colleagues to get this passed so we can stay ahead of the game rather than behind it. The other issue I'd like to talk about was this morning's vote in the Municipal Services and Properties Committee. I was very disappointed. There was an issue on the agenda that would have authorized the purchase of the vacant CVS lot at 10022 Madison, and unfortunately it failed. As many of you know, I, along with a group of residents, for the past 2 years had been advocating very strongly to prevent a gas station from being built at this location. But somewhere during this fight, we shifted from simply advocating against a gas station and advocating for a fire station. That's because we learned that the conditions at Fire Station 23, which is practically next door to 10022 Madison, are harming the people who work there. There is a lack of adequate separation because of the era when this station was built, because of how small it is, and because of how busy this particular station is, so that the firemen and women who work in this station, including EMS workers, are breathing diesel fumes. A young fireman passed away a couple years ago. His name was Sean Calvey. He died of esophageal cancer, not from fighting fires, but from the situation in the building at Station 23. We have an opportunity for a new station to be built right next door. It's right next door. We don't have to do a study to see if the response times will change. We know they'll be better because it's a better location. The trucks don't have to move. Right now, the trucks are double parked. You have to pull an ambulance before you can get the fire truck out because they're so jam-packed in that station. Unfortunately, what happened this morning will hamstring the negotiation efforts that have been ongoing. The developers think this is their opportunity to milk the city for as much money as they can. We had an opportunity, thanks to the mayor and his administration, to use eminent domain to take this property for a public purpose. There is no better public purpose than a fire station. I cannot imagine a more perfect location for a fire station than next to a park, an elementary school, and a recreation center. It's a visible location. It would be a jewel in the neighborhood. Please, let's revisit this and let's get this eminent domain process started so that we can have a fire station at the corner of Madison and West Boulevard. Thank you.
Next, we have Councilwoman House Jones.
Thank you, Council President. So I am not going to be here too long. I just wanted to send a thank you out to Judge Oliver in his rejection of the City of Cleveland's and the DOJ's request to end out of the consent decree. Similarly, just the process that we went through, even bringing that forward to the judge. There's a lot more of talking and having a strong plan to ensure that the City of Cleveland has constitutional policing. And so I wanted to thank Judge Oliver for that, and we'll look forward to, I believe, the upcoming hearing on June 4th. Outside of that, we didn't meet last week to talk about the United States Supreme Court's ruling on April 29th, basically gutting what we know as the Voting Rights Act. And for those of you who don't know, similarly, basically, the Supreme Court has just told us that you can't use race to draw congressional maps, basically, even though a lot of times you're drawing it to ensure that minorities actually get representation. And so they indicated basically you can use partisanship, but not race, even though we know Americans live very segregated lives. And a lot of times people's politics is based on race. That's neither here nor there. I know in a brief Council President asked me, well, what suggestions do I have? And so I've been thinking about like things that we really could do. First and foremost, I think we in the City of Cleveland have to invest in civic education. You know, one of the things is, I know State Board of Education member Merle Johnson was here to talk about school funding, right? To really try to clarify how did we end up in the City of Cleveland with schools closing. Most people don't realize it's not really the school board's fault. It is because of the way we fund schools here in the state of Ohio. And we have an Ohio General Assembly that is hostile to public education and disinvesting, even though when I was in the State House, we came up with a plan to fully fund public schools, and then 4 years in it, they're like, no, it's too expensive, we're not gonna do it. So we really have to, it's not just about our young people that are in schools, there are adults, far too many adults who have no idea how our representative democracy works, and if we are not investing in it to help our people, they'll never understand. Secondarily, I think it would be beneficial for each of us, whether you're elected or not, to get some very clear talking points in articulating how resources and just basic city services connect to people's lives. Because a lot of people just don't know, you know what I'm saying? And they're not understanding what happens from the federal level, the state level, the county level, the local level, how it impacts them. And if we are not getting people to participate more, we're only gonna get more of this. You know what I'm saying? And so I think there's a real opportunity for us as elected leaders to pave the way to help our people understand them, because November 3rd, if we do not vote in massive numbers to overcome what the Supreme Court has said, Ohio will definitely go back when it comes to minority representation. And it's not just on the federal level. You will see less representation when it comes to the Ohio General Assembly, less representation when it comes to county council, less representation when it comes to Cleveland City Council. That is what is projected as a result of the U.S. Supreme Court. And so I really, really would encourage everyone in this building to really let's think about what we can do to connect people. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And Councilwoman, thank you for coming up with those suggestions. One of the things that I would really implore is that we had a big event last week around exactly what you're talking about with the One Cleveland initiative that the library and the Gun Foundation is doing. So I really hope that we can lean into that and do what we can around publicly educating people around the vote, because that was an egregious act. Thank you for your suggestions. I have Tom May Shaw and then Councilman Tom May Shaw and Councilman Richard Starr.
Thank you, Chair. 787 voicemails. That number sits heavy with me, and as one of the 16 elected officials in this room, we have to take responsibility for this. There's no one person whose failure this is on. This is our collective failure to the residents of Cleveland, to the children of Cleveland. And there's just no absolutely way around it. It's something that I have to acknowledge as an elected official as well, and I hope the voters will remember this in 4 years. 787 voicemails is an absolute moral failure on our city to have ignored, to not have those systems in place, on this council body to not have the appropriate oversight, on me as a member of the Health and Human Services Committee, as someone who's hoping to understand what this looks like. And I hope the rest of us sit with that and think about what that looks like and what the impact of that is, the broken trust on it is. I'm grateful for the work in the administration, for the folks that have followed up on these and gotten back to those folks that called in, to former Councilwoman Rebecca Maurer for her work on this and continuing advocacy for our kids. A council member who was famously not a team player. And after today's morning, what keeps coming back to me is, what does it actually mean to be a team player in this place? Where does it actually get us? Where does it actually get our city? I'm not so sure about that. We're a 15 body here, and I've yet to see any type of cohesion on how we work and do things. I keep waiting for it. It was something I asked you, Council President, the first day after the election when you asked me about the vote, to vote for you as Council President, and I asked you what your priorities were, and you told me we were gonna figure that out after the vote. I'm still waiting.
Thank you. Councilman Richard Starr.
Good evening, Council President, as members of council. Today I just want to talk about something that's right in front of us that's going to happen around June 1st, and that's about SNAP benefits and the cuts that's about to happen. The ruling took place last July when they changed some of the policies, and they're going to really, really damage our families. And what I mean by that is the administrative changes, the rules, the reporting, and the attack on individuals is going to happen. I'm talking about how they sent an 11-page notice to families that confused them on what they have to do to keep their SNAP benefits. Monthly income reporting requirements that can create traps for families. Expanded work requirements for residents ages 55 to 64. Severe penalties that can lock people up. And while you're talking about politics, it is doing our people. When people lose food assistance, hunger increases. When hunger increases, instability increases. When instability increases, communities suffer. So I'm talking about neighborhoods where the median income is very low. And when you talk about Cuyahoga County, 5,000 to 6,000 residents are going to be impacted. And I don't see us with no strategy to help this. And what I mean by this, SNAP changes, this is going to affect those residents mainly are targeted between ages 55 and 64. When you look at when the president told them to come together and come up with something for him to sign, this is an opportunity for them to gut everything that people need assistance. This is so unacceptable. I pray for our families because there's no strategy to solve this. So June 1st, residents are going to go to the grocery store like they normally do. They're going to have groceries in their cart, and they're going to find out when they swipe their card that they didn't recertify to do everything they can. So I met today with Cuyahoga County Director of Health and Human Services and said, I know it's the 11th, but what can we do in collaboration to try to make sure we do everything to get everybody recertified to be able to deal with this issue. What I learned from him was they're taking a big hit at the county right now. When you talk about dollars that they're losing from the state, dollars that they're losing from the federal government, there's only so much health and human service dollars can actually do when you're talking about the amount of people that they provide service. So I think we need to be proactive with our approach, determining what is our role for the city going forward, because this is a marathon. SNAP is the first part. What about that medical benefits they're about to hit next? And if we don't get proactively engaged, making sure we work with Cuyahoga County Department of Job and Family Services regarding the impacted residents in Cleveland, I'm telling you, June 1st, our phones are gonna be ringing off the hook, asking us to do something. What can we do? Food pantries don't got enough money to supply. So when you talk about crime, it's gonna increase. Because when you live in a survival mode, people will do anything to put food on their table. So I'm telling us, we better buckle up, because this ain't a point for us to point the fingers amongst each other. It's for us to get our stuff together, be proactive with our approach. And I want you to understand, residents should not lose food assistance because of paperwork became intentionally confusing. If thousands lose SNAP benefits, local food pantries and neighborhoods will absorb the consequences. So I believe we need to coordinate outreach now before residents fall through the cracks, because this SNAP benefits cutting on June 1st is only the beginning of a marathon of disaster, and we need a collective approach. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes all eyes. Councilman Michael Polensek. Yes. Could you turn the mic volume up, please? No, not you. Don't touch the mic. They just need to touch the volume. They just got to turn the volume up. Just touch it. Just touch it, Mike. All right. Now turn the volume up.
And so as we talk about the issues that we're confronted with, and I want to talk about Is it on? Thank you. Again, to my honorable colleagues, Council President, my honorable colleagues, Mayor, members of the administration, I said, listening to my colleagues, an old saying about elections have consequences. They certainly do. You know, I heard my colleague, Councilman Starr, talk about SNAP. You know, I wanted to mention two things tonight. We talk about that impact on our families, but I also want to say, because we do have a section within community development for consumer affairs, someone has to explain to me why on the east side of the city that the gas stations are 60 to 70% cents, 60 to 70% higher per gallon. I want to know that. I want somebody to explain that to me, why we are paying 60 to 70 cents more per gallon on the east side of the city. I don't get it. We talk about everything that we're dealing with, but our residents were being preyed upon. Is it price gouging? Is it just certain gasoline suppliers? But I see it across the board. So again, I would ask officially through the mayor, law department, that we need to take a look at the issue with prices of gasoline on the east side. And then, Mr. Chairman, my colleagues to the mayor, on the 29th of May, we know that the schools are going to close. Teachers, I believe, are leaving on the 29th. As I stand here today, nobody from CMSD has communicated to my community, this councilman, what's going to happen to the after-school program at Collinwood High School, which this council funded. What's going to happen to the School of One program at Collinwood High School, which is in jeopardy of disappearing. And Mr. Chairman, no one's telling us in the community what's going to happen to the 6 voting places, the 6 precincts that are going to disappear again for this upcoming November election. Nobody is saying anything. Not anyone at the Board of Education, not Dr. Morgan, not any member of the school board. What's going to happen to the impact on voter suppression in the northeast side of the city? And I'm going to raise this issue, and I'm going to continue to raise it, because, again, none of this was taken in consideration when they decided to close 3 schools on the northeast side of the city, plus the number of teachers that are being laid off. And I asked the principal today, what's going to happen at Collinwood High School after the 29th? Councilman, we're hoping that they're going to have some type of security at the building. I watched on the news tonight 4 schools that either the city or CMSD are trying to sell in the condition of those 4 long-time abandoned buildings. Once beautiful buildings that they left rot. So again, my question to the administration, to the mayor, the CMSD, what's going to happen to historic Collinwood High School? Is it going to sit there and rot? Are the vandals going to get in and tear it up like they have all the other buildings that they let sit and rot in this city? There are a lot of questions that have to be answered. I'm not going to stop, because this is not even politics with me. This is very personal. It has become very personal with me and my community as to what the impact will be with the closure of 3 schools in our neighborhood. I want to just say and wind it up on this. The city of Euclid, the Euclid school system, is actively soliciting students in my neighborhood. Actively. Shaw, East Cleveland, actively soliciting students. The charter schools actively soliciting students. I told Dr. Morgan this was going to happen. He looked at me like deer in the headlights. I want to say this. Dr. Morgan doesn't understand the east side of the city of Cleveland. He doesn't understand the east side of the city of Cleveland, what's happening here. We're losing our students and we're losing our families. And again, I'm going to continue to raise this issue. I want to thank you, Mr. President, my colleagues. This is an issue that is festering in our neighborhood, will not go away, and I will tell you, the birds are going to come home to roost on this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Charlie Slife.
Did everyone like my Mike Polensek impression? So, all right, I'm painfully aware that there's 5 minutes left, or 5 minutes left in the second quarter, so I'm going to be very brief. This is probably more appropriately an announcement, but just building off of Councilwoman House Jones's words about the need for civic education. I'm not saying this is a cure-all, but it is field trip season in my office at City Hall. I mentioned this during budget hearings, so if anyone is interested in attending one of the 2 remaining field trips, there's one I have scheduled for this Thursday at about 10 a.m. with Riverside School, and then one next Friday, on a week from this Friday, with the 2 diocesan schools in Ward 15. But it's about 4th and 5th graders. They come to City Hall. They learn about the 2 branches of government here. In City Council, I have a whole script where they conduct a City Council hearing with legislation that would charge a $5 fee to use a playground. They debate it and vote it down. They go over to the Justice Center, where there is a jury trial for a kid who's failed to complete their homework. Usually found guilty. But it's fun. But within all of this, it's an opportunity for us to talk about what government does and hopefully to build that civic education at an early stage. And I can say, just sitting with kids in this room and talking about, why are there faces carved into the woodwork around the room that not everyone notices that are there? Why are there lions be eating gazelles in the carpet that people don't notice? Like, why? What does democracy mean? Why is it important to vote and to help kind of plant a seed now. I do want to thank Councilwoman House Jones and Councilman Harsh for coming a couple weeks ago to a field trip that we had with Campus International, and also to Jaden Baxter in the mayor's office, who's been really helpful coming from the executive branch. But this is something that I really would like to see more schools do. So to the degree that you're interested, I can't probably be the field trip guy exclusively. I'd love for other members to maybe just come, tag along, see what it is, and maybe next school year it's something that you'd want to help loop in schools in your wards into, since at this point it's sort of just, it's a curriculum that's all set between here and the courts. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Slife. That concludes this evening's council meeting. Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember Hudson, that the absence of Councilmember Bishop is hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. Council is adjourned to the call of the chair. Please exit the chambers and continue all conversations in the hallway so that police may secure the chamber doors. Thank you.